Hello everybody and welcome to my very first devlog. My name is Marius and I just started out with indie game dev, maybe like 3 months ago. Since then I have been working on my very first game using Godot. I have learned scripting using Godot in general, and it has been a lot of fun for me. And now I am super excited to show you the prototype of my first game. And yeah, let's do it. Let's just jump straight into Godot. Let's go. Okay, here we are in Godot. This is the script I wrote for my player. First script I ever wrote. Super exciting, and it works. No errors. I'm super proud of it. This is my first level. This is the first enemy type. I just made this a few days ago. Let me put it over here for now, and I'll start the game. This is how it looks. A little helicopter game, as you can see. You can fly the helicopter and go up or down. And I've tried my best to make it feel like a helicopter, because the problem I have with many games is that if they have helicopters, they feel like just cars going through the air. So you have a button to go up, a button to go down, forward, backward, and that's it, maybe turn. And you can go up and down with my helicopter as well by pressing W or S or the triggers on the controller. And to go forward, you have to pitch the whole helicopter like this, and it will go forward. It will gain airspeed but also lose altitude at the same time, because that is how helicopters work. You have to pitch it, angle the thrust so it will push you forward, but at the same time it will push you up less, you know? And that's how helicopters go. And I have spent some time working on this, and it feels pretty good. It works. It feels like a helicopter. Obviously it's not a simulation or anything close, but it's not a car in the air, and that was what is important for me. So you can fly it, you can turn it by pressing space, so you can go in the other direction. Of course you can just go backwards like this, because that's what helicopters do. But I have, as you can see, the gun is looking at the mouse. I have put the gun in, a cannon, and you can shoot it. It has different sounds and effects for the depending on the surface it hits. This is stone, this is just the ground, the metal is like this. And for the metal parts, for the metal landing and starting platform, I also made it that if you shoot it at a flat angle like this, you have the ricochets going off in the other direction, and the sound effect. I think this looks super cool. It's very satisfying. And you can shoot the crates, and bullets will just go straight through, and it pushes the crates a bit. It adds an impulse based on where it hits and the angle it hits. And if you have dealt enough damage to the crates, they will just be destroyed. And now you can turn to shoot in the other direction, or like this. I have made it so that these are actual little bullets getting instantiated at that cannon, and then they fly and hit stuff and detect stuff. It's super cool. I also added this smoke effect and the little shells being ejected. The camera shakes when you shoot, and when you play with the controller it also vibrates and rumbles, so you have haptic feedback as well. Yeah. I added a missile. Oops, it goes like this. It's a guided missile, you can control it. It is looking at the mouse cursor. But only when you thrust. You can control the thrust with the right mouse button. And go like this, and you can even shoot it, and it will be pushed as well by the impulse of the bullet hitting it. So you can push it over like this, and it will explode after half a second. But if you keep shooting it like I just did, it will explode when it loses, when it reaches 0 hit points. I thought about turning this into a gameplay mechanic as well. So maybe to parry other rockets or to add an effect to the explosion. I thought maybe if you shoot it and it explodes, it will like it will be like a shot bolt and shoot debris in a cone or something like that. But I'm not quite sure. But I think it's cool. The sound effect and the little ricochet going off, the smoke and sound, and the camera is shaking. And obviously it will explode when it hits something. It will destroy the crates or push the crates away, depending on how far the explosion is to the crate. And for the controller, I made kind of direct controls. So you use the right stick for the rocket and also for the angle of the cannon. And this is more like an indirect control, so the cannon and rocket look at where the mouse cursor is, but because you don't have a mouse cursor when using a controller, it's more direct. At first I thought I like this way. I like the controls this way better, but I have to admit it feels super cool with a controller. It feels more like a game, you know. Yeah, I added also this downwash effect. When you come close to the ground, it will create this dust cloud. And it will also wiggle the plants when you go above them. And this was the first major wow moment I had while working on my game. I coded a little raycast going from the helicopter down, and if the raycast hits the ground, this effect will start emitting. And the closer you go to the ground, the stronger it will be. Like this. I also have a damage system in my game already. At first it was like this: as soon as you would touch something, the helicopter would just explode. But now I have made different hurt boxes on the helicopter. The wheels, the little landing gear, they won't take as much damage. And you need a lot more velocity to take damage when landing with a landing gear. And to take damage on the hull, it is also based on velocity, so when you go super fast you will explode, but when you go not so fast or just bump into something lightly, you will take not as much damage. The helicopter has 150, and if you lose them it will explode. I can show you how it looks. Just like this. The camera also shakes. Then I have the rotor blades. If you touch something with the rotor blades, they will just shatter and the helicopter will fall down. And looks like this. With a cool sound effect as well. And I've also made it so that when the rotor blades touch a movable object, it will push it like this. If you take indirect damage by the missile, you will lose 50 HP. And then this starts happening. You can see the smoke coming out of the engine. And it is also like stuttering. It is not as strong as with a full HP. And if I take another 50 damage, it starts burning and it is even more stuttering. I can barely hold the helicopter in the air, and after 5 seconds it will just turn off and the helicopter goes down. You can also fly the other way around. Push it up. I thought about adding some puzzles or riddles later where you have to fly like this and maybe destroy some kind of electricity box or relay or something to open a door. And just recently I added the first enemy type. It's over here. I pushed it over here, and it is a rocket sentry. It has a range, and if the player helicopter enters the range, it will look at it and fire the missile, and you can shoot the missile. You get pushed by the explosion in the air, which is super cool, and you can see it fired two of the missiles, and they are gone. Now it will fire from the middle, and now it will fire from the bottom up, just like that. And now it is still looking at me, but it can't fire anymore. And I've also made it that it's not just looking at the position of the player, it's looking at the position and the current velocity added as a vector on top. So it feels like it is predicting, that's the word. It feels like it is predicting where the player is going and is pre-aiming a bit, which is super strong. I had to multiply it by 0.5 because it was way too strong with the standard value, and I plan on using it for like different levels and challenges. You can also hide, so it will not see me when the line of sight is obstructed. And I can go right above and go down. You can see. You have to dodge. Oh! You have to dodge the missiles, and the goal of the game of each level is to land on the green platform, and then it will load the next level. It is not finished, as you can see. I have like 4 levels, but only the first one is kind of done, but I also used the first one as test range, maybe. So I put all the crates in there, I put the missile sentry there just to test it, so it's not like this. It will not be like this in the finished game. You won't have access to the cannon, you won't have access to the missiles, so the first levels are just flying, avoiding obstacles and stuff, and then you can unlock the cannon, but it won't have the gimbal, so it's just fixed. You can just shoot forward, and later you gain the missile, not guided, and later on you can choose if you want the gimbal for the cannon or the guided function for the missile and stuff. And I plan on adding different puzzles and ways to use the equipment and stuff. I worked a lot on the camera system as well. Let me just put this sentry out of the way so I can show you. At first I had the camera just centered and always looking at the player, and now it is like following the player, but interpolated with its current position and the player's X position. So it feels like a lazy camera following the helicopter, and at the same time it is looking at it. So you always can see where you are, but the camera is super smooth and damped and lazy following around, which I quite like a lot. It also has this, like, let me land real quick to show it to you. It has a bit of sway. I used a noise texture for this. I also plan on adding more ways to restrict the use of the cannon. And now it is shaking, of course, and it's even pushing the helicopter. You can see when you angle it down, it's pushing the helicopter up in the front and back. If you aim forward, it's pushing the helicopter back, and if you aim as high as it may go, it's pushing it a little bit down in the front and back as well. But I plan on adding something like a heat gauge, what is it called? I don't know. You know what I mean. So as long as you keep shooting, the heat will rise, and if it overheats, you can't shoot for a few seconds maybe. And the hotter the cannon gets, the more deviation I wanted to add. And I also need some kind of ammo system or reload system for the missiles. I thought about just giving the player 4 missiles, and then you have to land somewhere near an ammunition depot or something to rearm, and then you have 4 missiles again. Then I thought about just a cooldown system. I don't know. I need to test. And you can even do like cool stunts by combining the turning and flying the other way around. And it looks like this, which is super cool. Yeah, that's my game so far, guys. I loved working on it so far. It is super fun, super rewarding for me. Just like beating what was his name? The Sword Saint, Ishin, the Sword Saint in Sekiro. When you have when you're stuck somewhere and don't know how do I add this? How can I make the missile follow the mouse? And you finally get it done after, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 days. It's just the same feeling as beating a boss. Yeah, I definitely want to keep working on it and add stuff and add a lot of levels so you can actually play the game. Please let me know what you think of it. Did you like it? Would you play it? Leave some feedback if you like. Write a comment, maybe leave a thumbs up, and have a great day. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video, hopefully. Bye bye.